You did it? Okay.
We're live.
Playoff special, y'all. Playoff special. These Sweet Sixes is in full effect, y'all. Get your popcorn, get your chips, get your dip.
Chips and dip.
Get your apple juice. Go ahead, y'all. Tune into it right now, y'all. We will be going live in approximately 3 minutes, y'all. Tune in, check us out, y'all. Tune in, check us out, y'all. 3 minutes. Yeah, you fit. Hey, Nick, get the popcorn. Get whatever you need to get. Go make some dinner. Go throw a couple of ribeyes on the grill. It's nice outside, y'all. It's nice outside, y'all. I got your message, my brother, loud and clear. You ain't gonna see that long.
Hello. Sixers 24/7, Philadelphia in general. This is East League Sixers. My name is Carl Sampson. I am here with Mr. Kai Carlin, Sabri Latane, and Mr. Brandon Hine. We are here to talk about no other than Philadelphia playoff basketball. Mr. Kai Carlin, first off, thank you for joining us. We know you're a very busy man. You have a busy schedule. We thank you for gracing us with your presence, man.
Oh, I thank you guys for having me on. I definitely appreciate it, man.
No doubt.
Hey, Kyle, I got one question before I let the fellas get right into it, my brother. Yo, they ain't gonna take your press pass for this, man, by answering this question. But this question right here is, out of all the matchups that our Sixers got, and their potential matchups, what potential matchup you see giving us the most trouble?
Brooklyn.
Stay forward.
Brooklyn. I
So
don't
you
see them.
think Milwaukee? Yeah. Oh.
Coming hot.
I don't think they beat Brooklyn. Milwaukee would be a really tough matchup. There's a chance they don't beat Milwaukee. I don't think they have a real shot against Brooklyn. That's just me.
Okay.
I understand.
I understand.
Yo, don't be taking the vibe down. Yo, I got a weird vibe. It's in the air. I see a trophy coming to our case very soon.
I have a question for you. We're gonna jump right to it. What do you think about Ben Simmons' performance as a whole this season? Do you feel like he's progressed as a player?
Personally, no. He's really the same player. I mean, if you really want to really dive into it, you want to say it's kind of tough because in my eyes, I see Ben Simmons as still like a top 15, top 20 player. Kind of depends on how you do the rankings. So it's not like Ben Simmons is an awful player. He's a really, really great player. I love watching him play. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean he's also improved either, if that makes sense. Like, he's still kind of the same player that he's coming to the league with. He's very good at rebounding. He's an elite defender. He gets guys involved, and he'll have the occasional high scoring game. But that doesn't. I don't think that's really going to cut it come playoff time. And that's what I'm saying about Brooklyn, with the way the Nets have so many offensive firepower that they can really turn to, from Durant to Irving to Harden to Joe Harris to Blake Griffin to Jeff Green to whoever they can turn to. While for Philadelphia, the only guy you can really rely on offensively each and every night is Joel. And you could say Tobias Harris's playoff numbers are awful. Like, not just in Philadelphia, but in his 1 year with Detroit as well. Tobias has not performed in the playoffs well, so he has a lot to prove too. So that is why I'm saying I don't like them against Brooklyn.
I understand that, and I know why you say that. But Doc set out in the beginning of the season. He came out. I don't know if it was your article, but he came out and said one of his goals was he wanted to be one of the top defensive teams in the league, and we're that. So ultimately, I feel like great defense beats great offense, and I feel like when that matchup does come, and I feel like it will come, Eastern Conference Final, I feel like the Nets will beat the Bucks when they do play them. I feel as though we have enough fresh, elite defensive bodies. Speaking of Ben and Thibault, to keep their star players, not in check, but make it hard for them on that end. That's all you can really do with the great ones.
They will make life hard on them because, as you mentioned, I think Philadelphia finished the league as the number 2 defense. I think the only team that they were behind is the Los Angeles Lakers. I know the Lakers had the league in defense this year. So I think Philadelphia finished second. So you're absolutely right. They're going to make life tough on them. But the only matchup Philadelphia has on Brooklyn is Joel, because Brooklyn has nobody to guard Joel. Joel will chew up every Nets defender and spit him out. You know what I'm saying? Just because of how great Joel Embiid is. But it's just like, sure, you can put Ben on Harden, right? But then who's guarding Durant? Who's guarding Irving? And all of a sudden, Blake Griffin's dunking again. So it's like Blake Griffin all of a sudden looks revitalized. And don't forget about Joe Harris. Like, he's another one. Like, if you're going to guard those three, Joe Harris shoots like 48% from deep. So it's like if you leave Joe Harris open, and Joe Harris does it a lot more consistently than a guy like, say, Seth Curry. So Seth Curry is obviously an elite three-point shooter as well, but Joe Harris does it on like a more consistent basis. You can't leave Joe Harris open, so you can't really double team any of these guys because Durant is an underrated passer. We all know James Harden is a great passer. He leads league in assists constantly. Then there's Kyrie Irving, who is a killer with the game on the line. So that's another thing too. With the game on the line, Philadelphia really can only turn to Joel and maybe Tobias Harris. But you don't know that Harris come playoff time. You know what I'm saying? You don't really know which one you're going to get there. Nikki, what's up, man? Very, very nice. I saw your comment. So what's up, man?
What's up, Nick? What's up, Nick?
So, go ahead. So like my big thing is, I'm not saying that the Sixers like don't have a chance at the finals, because obviously they do. They're the number 1 seed. But if we're talking who's my pick, it's Brooklyn. I've also been picking Brooklyn since opening night. Like even before the Harden deal, Brooklyn was my pick.
Understand.
Okay.
Brandon,
Okay.
Mr. Brandon, we have.
So I know this is a playoff preview, but I got some other questions lined up. I'm going to be the bad cop. Question for you. I don't know what you are or are not allowed to talk about, but so I know that obviously you're right. So who is somebody in the media and or a player that maybe over the course of time that you got into a beef with over a take that you've had maybe?
I haven't had that.
Well, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
so this is my fourth season covering the team. Second with Sixers Wire over at USA Today, and I haven't said anything too wild to have really any beef with anybody yet. So
No,
You
hot
didn't
takes.
talk
That's
about
good. That's
Kwame
good.
Brown, did you? You didn't talk about Kwame Brown, did you?
no, I didn't talk about Kwame Brown. I made sure I didn't talk about Kwame Brown, man.
That's a hot issue.
No, I didn't talk about Kwame Brown.
Somebody, you got a question?
No, I got a quick question too. So, you said you've been covering the Sixers. You've been covering the Sixers for about 4 years now. So, is this the greatest season of basketball as far as anticipation and hype that you ever seen since you've been covering the Sixers, or maybe one of Brad Brown years was better as far as anticipation and hype?
Anticipation and hype in terms of the playoffs, like in terms of
playoff. As far as like playoffs, as far as playoff basketball, like we didn't see this since 2001. So, what about, in your opinion, is this the greatest season you cover as far as like this team in playoff basketball?
I think it would have to be the most highly anticipated season, just because it's a fresh start with Doc. Doc, I know, has really captured the attention of Sixers fans. He's captured the attention of the Sixers star duo. He's getting the most out of Joel and Ben. He is also getting the most out of Tobias, which is why I feel like with Tobias heading into this postseason, it's like you look at his playoff numbers, they really haven't been great. But I mean, maybe we could put them on the back burner until we kind of see what he does under Doc, because everybody was criticizing Tobias under Brett. So now that with the season he's having under Doc, and with the anticipation surrounding this team this year, that maybe Tobias is the one to step up when the time calls for it. So, I mean, we all remember what Tobias did in the 2020 playoffs. He didn't make a 3-pointer until Game 4. He shot 2 for 15 from deep against the Celtics in the 2020 playoffs. So, and then even the 2019 series against Toronto, Tobias didn't play well in that series either. And then his 2016 year with Detroit, they played Cleveland. He didn't play well in that series either. I think he had maybe one good game. So it's just like I'm not really sure what to really make of Tobias, with his playoff, history. And maybe under Doc, things would be different. I did see Jose's comments, so Jose, what's good? And then, back to you guys.
Well, I want to say on behalf of the podcast, of course, and behalf of 624/7, man. When we see you on, when we see your article, when we see you speaking, you represent us, and we're proud. We're proud that one of our guys is out there living, doing what you love to do every day. I know it's hard. I know you get tired, but you're appreciated by the family, man. You do a really hard job.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And when I tracked you down, man, I know how you is. I've been knowing you a little bit longer, so I know how you is. I said, yo, I got to get my foot in the door. We ain't going to never get him, boy. I had to say that, man. I said, yo, I can't bug you. I was like, and I appreciate you dealing with me kept bugging you and stuff like that, because I know how busy you is. So it was like, yo, I got to get him on the show. Then I got another question for you, too. I got, real fast. Talk about your upbringing, because a lot of guys is new. You've been at 24/7, for a long time, but we have a lot of new guys on the scene. Talk about your upbringing and what started you in the media business.
All right. I mean, it's a kind of a long story if you really want to. I guess we'll kind of start off in college. Like I graduated college in May of 2017. Excuse me, May of 2016. I didn't get my first job in media till May of 2017. So it was like a full year after graduation from college to now I was just lifeguarding for like a full year, just sitting at pools doing nothing, trying to figure out how to get my foot into the door there. I lived in South Jersey at the time, and I got a job at Longport Media, which is like somewhere in like outside Atlantic City. Like everybody out there, it's outside Atlantic City a little bit. And I got hired to do like board operating and like promotional events and stuff like that. There was no Sixers or sports coverage or anything like that. It was like just kind of, that's all it was. So when basketball season did come around, I actually asked my boss if I could use our station to get me credentialed for Sixers games, which was Ben's rookie year. And they said that I could use them, but they couldn't pay me to go all the way up to Philly to, get audio and things of that nature and to put it out on the air. So my first year and a half, I didn't get paid. So think about that. I'm driving from Atlantic City to Philadelphia 3-4 times a week, covering games for no money. Then driving to New York, I hopped on a plane. I went to Miami, all for free, trying to just kind of hustle and grind that way. And then Sixers Wire was actually going to hire Jessica Camarado from NBC Sports Philadelphia. I don't know if you guys remember her.
Yeah, I remember Jessica.
Yeah, they were going to hire Jessica, but she actually then got a job with MLB.com to go cover the Boston Red Sox. So when that happened, she actually gave them my number. They called me and they hired me to take that spot. So shout out to Jessica Camarado for being a real one.
Okay.
And then Sixers Wire actually didn't pay me my first 3 weeks because they wanted to see what I could do, really. So they didn't pay me for my first 3 weeks. Then they threw me on the payroll around like after that about 3 weeks. Then I got promoted to editor in August of 2019. And that's kind of how it's been ever since.
Man, I gotta say, shout out to Jessica Camarado. She definitely is a real one. You gotta shout her out and stuff like that.
Was she not in the group? I swear she was.
I thought she was in the group too.
And if she wasn't, I know she had a relationship with Joey. I'm sure about that because I know they had talked.
And that brings me to my next question. Yeah, Kai, that brings me to my next question. Talk about the meaning of Sixers 24/7 in you, because we honor each and every day when we step on this podcast. We honor the legacy of one of the greatest dudes to ever do it, Joey D. So talk about what 24/7 means to you.
I mean, it's kind of hard to put into words. It's just kind of like, there was just this random Sixers group I just kind of came across. And also, I know you guys are going to kill me for this one, but, it has to be said. I was never a Sixers fan growing up. Even right now, like I'm not a Sixers fan. Like what I do is it's a job. I cover this team. I put news out there and I do my best. So I grew up in Michigan. So growing up, I was a Detroit Piston fan growing up as a kid. So I loved Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun Prince. Those guys. Those were my guys growing up as a kid. So, but when my mom moved us out to New Jersey, I knew that if I wanted to cover a pro sports team, it would have to be the Philadelphia 76ers. So that's really why I joined Sixers 24/7 initially, to try and grow an audience and see what Sixers fans are like. What are they into? What are they like reading? What kind of stuff are they really into? And Sixers 24/7 really offered that opportunity. And then I met Joey once. I met him. He was actually at Stockton for training camp. I went to Stockton for college. Sixers obviously came to Stockton for camp for like a couple of years before the facility was opening up in Camden. And I literally pulled up in the parking lot, and I was on my way to class. And I saw Joey and like 3 other dudes. I didn't even know who Joey really was yet. I just knew that he was the guy who ran the page. And Joey was the one who actually pointed me out and like yelled at my name and like took a picture with me real quick before I had to go to my 8:30 class. So that is my one Joey story. Like it was cool. It was all right.
Nice, man, nice. That's because all we trying to do over here is continue the legacy over here, and this podcast is part of the legacy and stuff like that. So I'm gonna shoot it off to Brandon or even Carl. Y'all got a question y'all want to ask him next?
Yeah, a question for you again. I'm not going to go playoffs, but over the course of your time watching the Sixers, give me a player, or it could be a team that has existed that was a surprise to you, either that it was better than you expected or worse than you expected.
Oh, last year's team. Like, if we're going to be completely honest, I thought last year's team would do a lot better than what it did. You know, obviously they only ended up as a 6th seed and they were swept at round 1 by Boston. But I thought last year's team was a lot better. Like I didn't think, I knew Al Horford was going to be like I guess I say like a very mysterious pickup because you're not really sure how he would fit with Joel. But I didn't think that Joel and Al Horford pairing would be as bad as it was. I also didn't think Josh Richardson was going to be as bad as he was, and I don't think Josh Richardson or Al Horford are bad basketball players. Like I feel like that's something a lot of Sixers fans believe. They just believe that Al Horford and Josh Richardson are bad players. I just thought that they were really bad fits for Philadelphia. Like I thought Al Horford was playing okay for the Thunder before Oklahoma City decided to shut him down and go full rebuild. You know, like I thought he played okay for them. I know Richardson really isn't playing all that well for Dallas, but I mean when Richardson was in Miami, Josh Richardson was a very good player those 4 years for the Heat before coming over to Philadelphia. So last year's team, I didn't think that they were going to be as bad as they were, but clearly I was wrong in that one. But you know, you live and you learn.
No.
Piggyback question real quick. Piggyback question. Do you think in the trades that we made, as we traded Richardson and we traded Horford, that we got enough in the deal? You think it was a fair deal?
I mean, I think so. They're the number 1 team in the East, you know? So, like, you know, they went from number 6 to number 1. And Seth Curry, I don't think Seth Curry is better than Josh Richardson. I just think he's a much better fit, clearly. He shoots 45% from deep, and he's exactly what the Sixers need to put around Ben and Joe. And Seth is also an underrated ball handler. You don't want him running your offense for like a full game, obviously, because they'll tire him out. But Seth is an underrated ball handler to where, like, if Ben, you want to throw him off the ball real quick, you can run a pick and roll with that. And then when it came to the Al Horford deal, you got Danny Green out of it, who won 3. He's got 3 championships. He's seen every single scenario you could throw at him in the playoffs. He shot 40.1% from deep this year. He shot 43.4% from deep after the All-Star break. And this was another one, like, and I hate this about NBA fans because, like, I feel like a large group of NBA fans just kind of see one play and they just judge you off that one play. Like, I remember when they made the move for Danny Green, all everybody brought up was his missed shot in Game 5 of the Finals last year against Miami, and it's like okay, so we're gonna blow up one shot that he just missed. I mean, it's basketball, guys miss shots. But you're not going to look at Danny Green's whole career and tell me that this dude isn't like a huge upgrade to their lineup. Again, I feel like people kind of pump the brakes a little bit because Danny played into October. Of course, he was going to go off to a slow start. Now look at him; he's a huge part of this team. So yeah, I think they got more than enough for those 2 days.
You think Horford and Richardson might be better players overall, but Green and Curry are better fits?
Absolutely. Because I don't think Al Horford is even a bad player right now.
He played good for Oklahoma City.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I thought he played well for OKC. I thought he had, like, you know, a normal Al Horford stat line. But then the Thunder shut him down because the Thunder went into full tank mode so they can, you know, obviously get a good draft pick because they're in the middle of a rebuild. So it's like I thought Horford played well for them, and then Richardson's starting for the Mavericks for their playoff team. So it's just like, you know, I really didn't think both guys were bad players. I just knew you had to get rid of them and go for upgrades because they didn't fit next to Ben and Joe. You need certain types to play next to Ben and Joel.
So now, real fast too. What's the difference between what you see? Because you covered Embiid last year and this year. What's the difference in his body language and energy you see from Embiid as opposed from last year than this year? Is he more, I'm MVP? Is he more like, is his body language better than what you've seen even over the past years you covered him? Is his body language a lot better this year compared to previous years?
Well, yeah, because you can tell he's buying in. You know, like you can tell, like, you know, I don't think he and Brett had a bad relationship. That's not what I'm trying to say here. It's just like last year's team was just like kind of, it was such a mess. It was a messy situation because like as I said, the Al and Josh fits around Ben and Joe, they don't fit. Now that you have Seth and Danny, he has space to operate. Now there's more players are going to buy in when a system fits them better. If you get what I'm saying, like if that makes more more sense. So, and also Joel, he had a talk with Doc in training camp, and Doc kind of told him that he was like, dude, like you can't be out of shape. You know, you got to be able to take care of your body if you want to win MVP. And I think Joel actually said it a couple of weeks ago. I mean, that he said Doc told him, when have you ever seen an out of shape MVP? So it's just like Joel has done a really good job of just like, I think he hired a nutritionist, he hired a massage therapist, he hired like a bunch of different like kind of medical people to help him with his body around the clock, help him take care of his back, help him take care of his knees, help him take care of his feet, you know, to try to make sure that he is all set and ready to go for the postseason. And now that they know they're going to be playing the Washington Wizards round one, I really do expect Joel to like absolutely feast on the Wizards because who you going to throw at him? Alex Len, you know, or Daniel Gafford. So I mean, like, come on.
All right, we're going with spot 27. We know you got to be out of here soon, Carl. Carl, fire away one
has
question
to
for him. Unmute yourself, Carl.
Unmute yourself.
Okay, I have one question. I would love your prediction in this upcoming series. What will be your prediction at the end of this series? What will it be?
With Washington, I think it goes 5 at the very most. You know, like it could be a sweep, but because of the way Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal are just playing, like Wizards could possibly steal a game just because of how explosive those two guys are. But yeah, I don't see how this series kind of goes past 5. They're going to need the rest because if they're set to play the New York Knicks in round 2, if the Knicks can get past the Atlanta Hawks, I don't see like that series could go 6 or 7 just because the Knicks are a team that will beat you up. You know what I'm saying? Like they play like the 90s Knicks. They will rough and tough with you and make life hard. So you want to make sure you have as much rest as you can for those guys.
Hey, Kai, I want to say before we close this thing out, I want to say on the behalf. First, I'm going to take the time to shout out the comments we had. Nikki, always love, brother. Always appreciate you and what you do. Jose, our main man, one of the light breeds of Eat Sleep Sixers podcast. So appreciate you for tapping in the comments. Steven Salam, OG of Sixers 24/7. Thank you for being in the comments as well. And to the 4 people that got their eyes on us right now, thank you. On behalf of everybody, Kai, this is a fairly new podcast, but you even sitting up here tapping in with us, taking the time to talk to us, knowing how busy of a man you is, and knowing the playoffs about to kick in Sunday. On the behalf of everybody from top to bottom on the whole team, we thank you for tuning in with us. We thank you. I bugged you to death. I even thank you for not even hitting the block button on me. I thank you for not even saying, you know what? Block. I thank you for not even hitting that button on me. I thank you for everything. We thank you for everything, my brother. And we just appreciate you giving us this time. Eat Sleep Sixers, man. It's been another one with Kai Carlin. Kai Carlin, you on 24/7. Whenever you see us up, bro, check out the episodes. You appreciate it, bro.
Hey man, you're never gonna get the block button. You're never gonna get that. Just,
I was close to blocking him a few times.
Yeah.
Listen, just be patient with me because as you know, like I'm just there's a lot going on right now trying to get ready for the postseason. So I appreciate you guys having me on.
I appreciate you being patient with us. So guys,
bro, wait, I need to make a deal with him since this is me to you. Since I know that you think Brooklyn's going to win. If we win the title, you coming on the episode after the championship. Shots fired.
Is that a deal before we go?
Listen.
And saying I was wrong? And just be like, I was wrong.
And if we lose, give me the biggest I told you so. I don't even care. I can take it like a champ.
I can take it like a champ.
Look, listen. If we can make it happen, then listen, I got you. Like if there's a window we can fit me in there, then yeah, I got you.
Absolutely.
Of course. Hey y'all, this has been another one. Eat Sleep Sixers. We out. Kai.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Take care, brother.
Take care.